I told you I would be back. Look at me. Hey, I'm talking here. I told you we will be back. I'm talking here. Hello, everyone. Steve Rizzo here, and welcome to Hey, I Am Talking Here, starring Debbie Bettendorf, Eric the Bam Man, and we have our wonderful director-producer, the Bruce Man. We have a really different show tonight, and it's Should Comedy Be Censored? And I've been being bombarded by a lot of people and their opinions the past week, and I decided let's just have this as a topic. And are comedians being threatened on stage for speaking their mind? And do certain people in the audience have a right to try and stop the show and censor them? Or should it be, gee, let them say what they want, and if you don't like it, don't show up at the show? And let's hear everyone's opinions. We have Ted Legals on already, and we'll get a couple other people. We welcome your comments, and I want everyone to please share this with your friends, family, and fellow workers and people that you know, because the more people that get involved, the better the show is. Right now, though, I'm going to introduce you. By the way, before I even introduce, this show is brought to you by Conversations with Bob. And that is my latest book that was written a while ago. It's out. It's you can get it on Amazon. And the subtitle is A Timeless, Entertaining Dialogue for Living an Extraordinary Life. If you like the book, just give a good review, share it with your friends. My goal is to get the message out to the masses. So right now, without any further ado, let me introduce to you my friends whom I could not do this show without, the people that make the show really happen. Bring them on, Bruce. Let's bring on Debbie and you and Eric at the same time.
Hello. Welcome to me.
That's a great
Conversations with Bobby. It was so crazy. I was thinking, Bobby. Then you said Conversations with Bobby. I'm like, what?
Bobby.
Conversations with Bab.
Babs.
How are you all?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Happy Easter to everyone.
Yes.
Why is everyone saying Happy Easter? It's not Easter Sunday.
A couple days.
Couple
Tomorrow's,
days.
So you say it's like Happy New Year after New Year, but you say Merry Christmas before Christmas.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. Okay. All right.
He's like, geez.
I guess the religious holidays you celebrate beforehand, and then the calendar holidays you celebrate afterwards.
Cool. If you're going to be testicle about it, okay, we'll do it then.
Hello to Ted Legal. By the way, random fact: did you all know that Ted's middle name is Vivian after his great grandmother?
Aha.
Theodore Vivian Legal.
Awesome. Hey Ted, I won't call you Viv.
The Viv.
Hey Ted, just want to know how you doing lately. You doing good?
How you doing?
I just want to know because I know earlier there was some problems. I just want to know how you're feeling. Hope everyone's doing good.
Ted's a fighter.
Gosh.
Yes, he is.
Not get aggressive.
So, guys, let's get into this subject, and I want to kick it off with this. I've just been noticing lately, and having conversations with people. Somebody will say something, and somebody go, "Gee, I don't know why you said that. That's really not funny," or "You shouldn't say that. This is serious." And a lot of times, I think that's when you need laughter the most. When the topic is serious, you need that levity to iron it out, because what I think laughter does, it stifles the fear that represents the subject matter. And I'll give you a perfect example. When 9/11 happened, 3 days after, I was watching the news, and I saw all these volunteers. You had the firemen, you had the police department, and other people diving into the rubble and trying to find survivors and trying to pick out bodies out of this enormous rubble.
Mm-hmm.
And the reporter was standing there with a microphone in her hand. And she's looking at these people and she's focusing on this one fireman who has a bandage around his head and his blood stains on his head. He has his arm in a sling and he looks like he's beat to crap. And he's about to go back into the rubble again. And the reporter just looks at him with the utmost sympathy and just says, how is it that you have the courage to go back in there again? And he takes a deep breath. He goes up to her. He grabs the microphone and he goes, two things, lady. He goes, number one, I'm a fireman. Number two, I'm New York. That's all you need to know. And everyone started laughing. Now, I grant you, that laughter only lasted maybe 5 or 10 seconds. Okay. And they were applauding, and that only lasted 5 or 10 seconds. But here's my point. Sometimes a couple of seconds is all you need to catch your second wind. And laughter gives you those few seconds time and time again. And there were people that I were with when I was watching this that actually said, he should never have said that. That's not funny.
Oh.
And that's why I brought it up. And I'm like, isn't that amazing how people that were in the midst of the rubble were laughing and onlookers were thinking, gee, maybe he shouldn't have said anything like that. It's not a laughing matter. Yeah, it is. When my brother Michael passed away last year, as you guys know, I gave the eulogy, and half of it was his honor, and the other half I roasted him.
Mm-hmm.
And comedians do that with each other all the time. It's an honor. It dissipates the fear and the hurt that people are feeling. And laughter just makes you realize that the spirit that constitutes the person will always live on. The memory's there. It's just that's what laughter does. It binds people. And that's where I'm coming from partially with this topic. You can't stifle your laughter genes, your humor genes. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing because we have become so politically correct. They're taking it to the extreme. So what do you guys think of that?
Actually, one other note, after 9/11, SNL took a break for a while, and then they decided to come back. And they said, it's okay to be funny. They said, well, you've never tried it before. Why start now?
Yeah, that's funny. Now it's fun. But you know what? Talking about SNL, Mayor Giuliani, who was the mayor then, he even said, because he was supposed to be on Saturday Night Live that Saturday. And they asked him, do you still want to do this? And he goes, yes, the country needs this. We need laughter more than any other time of the history of this planet. Yes, the show must go on. And they did it for that reason. Yeah. That's a good point, Bruce.
Yeah.
And humor is also a point of view, because unless you actually accept it, and again, I think we talked about this prior to this, but if you go to a show and you know who the headliner is, and you're not going to like that headliner, why make the decision to go or not?
That's my point, Bruce. That's a great point. That's my point, because I think there are some people that as soon as they wake up in the morning, and I'm not passing judgment, I'm giving an opinion here. There are some people that wake up in the morning and they say, who or what is going to offend me today? And they look for it. You're shaking your head.
Well, I think Bruce's point is actually the opposite point of that. Bruce's point is, I'll go see a comedian because I know that I can relate to what he's doing. But if I go see a comedian that I don't like, I'm offended. Right, Bruce? Was your point the opposite of that?
No, I get what he's saying. Yeah.
No, you make a decision. And again, everybody has a freedom of choice. I mean, all these TV shows that are on, they had some awards coming up. I forgot which awards it is, but they had listed the top 10 shows that are up for awards. I have not seen a single one of those.
Right.
This is the way I feel about it. I feel like we do have freedom of speech, but we are being censored more and more to sensitivities of people. Now, while I say that, I'm all about being kind and positive to one another, and I would never want to see someone mistreated. But if there's a comedian on stage and you're there and you don't like it, you're also welcome to leave. And I think where it gets a little blurred, the lines get blurred, is if like someone is interviewed on the news and you're watching the news and you don't know that this person is going to be on and they say things that are offensive to you. That's like, woo, So I feel like it depends on the platform that you're in, that you're on. If it's your show, and I think you should be able to say what you want, right, on your stage. I think that if you are being interviewed and it's a certain audience, that you just need to be more self-aware of what you can say. But some people aren't going to be like that. So I don't know. I'm really conflicted with the way I feel about it, because I don't feel like we should be censored, but I also feel like if there's someone who is being super offensive in the wrong atmosphere, in the wrong place, then people will phase them out anyway. We don't really have to censor them. They're not going to be followed anymore. They're not going to continue. I feel like when we censor people, we almost give them more attention anyway. So I don't know. It's a tough world we live in. I mean, just like my kids always tell me that I have Debby disclaimers. And Steve, you just did it. You just did it, like, not to say that it's like my Debby disclaimer is, I'm going to say this, but don't judge me. I just mean it like this, this, and this, not this, this, and this, because you are now feeling like everything that you say is going to be twisted to mean something other than what you intend.
I agree. But even if you intend it that way, I guess another point I'm making, and censorship is the key phrase in this topic here, is that if you're in a comedy club and there are 500 people in the club, and 498 people are laughing their asses off, and two people are standing up and screaming, those two people are louder than the 498 that are just having a good time. And what they're doing is standing up and saying, no, that's wrong, that's wrong. And they go there for that reason. I think that's what I'm mainly talking about.
Yeah,
right,
I have a feeling Steve Rizzo has had this experience.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You're talking about the comedian standing on a stage.
Yeah.
I'm mentally thinking about the dude at the water cooler at work who says the offensive joke that 12 people are offended by.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
It's not the same. It's totally different, because I'm paying to see the guy on stage. I'm not paying to hear it at work. And by the way, because I've read this book 3 times, I want to read something from this book
oh my gosh, if you say the same one I'm going to share, I'm going to crack up.
Page 170. So as soon as I recognize or become aware that I'm not feeling right or of the negative reality I'm creating, I shift my way of thinking to empower thoughts and words. That's from this book, right? And so how is a comedian any different than than a comedian is okay? And I'm not, by the way, I love watching Netflix specials, and I'm down with the humor that comes, and I get it.
Eric Bam disclaimer right there.
Well,
by the way,
it's not a disclaimer. It's just, I guess it is a disclaimer. And I shouldn't have to say that. Like, I love to watch what I want to watch because I'm amused by it in my own home. But should comedy be censored? I don't know if comedy should be censored, but should comedians censor themselves a little?
See,
look, Don Rickles cannot go on stage and say that shit that he said in the 70s. He can't.
Not anymore.
No, he can't.
No,
but he probably shouldn't either. Right?
That's kind of a good point. I mean,
should he?
That's a great point, and that's why I'm glad we're doing this. In today's, maybe not. I guess not. Certain things that he did, but I also think it's cool that we can all laugh at our own nationalities. I
still laugh at Don.
I think it's crucial. I'll give you an example, and I think I spoke to this to you guys once before off the air here. When I had a bit. It's a true story. I'm not going to go into the whole thing. This is in my speaking career now, and I talk about driving up to a toll booth, and I was in my way on an audition, and I go to pay the toll, and I realized I left my wallet at the rental place, and I was in such a frenzy of a mood, and I didn't know what to do. And I looked at the guy in the toll booth, and I just looked at him because he's waiting for me to pay him, and I didn't have any money. My wallet's gone. And I said, I'll have a couple of burgers, 2 fries, and get something for yourself there, Sparky. And he looks at me and says, would you like me to supersize those fries, my friend? And it was a true story. That's the way he talked. I got off the stage, got a standing ovation from 3,000 people. By the way, a quarter of the people were from India. And I got lambasted by the meeting planner for making fun of people from India. And I
Oh,
said, I wasn't. I was doing an impression. That's what the guy sounded like.
yes.
I said,
Yeah.
if the guy was from Jamaica, I would have done the same accent. If he was
Yeah.
Irish, I
Can
would
we
have
hear
done
that
the
in
same thing.
Jamaican?
Excuse me?
Can we hear that in Jamaican?
Oh, don't start.
Yeah, come on. No pressure.
Would you like me to supersize those fries, my friend?
That sounded like Irish or
I
something.
know. Would you like to order the portion?
I'm sorry. That was fucked up.
Come on, man. Come
Bam,
back
I'm
to Jamaica,
offended.
man.
I just cussed. I apologize.
To supersize those friends, my friend, man. Now
Y'all
I got to work on that.
on.
Sounded like Darth Vader mixed in with some Irish there. I'm not even sure what was happening.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Well, look, I just know there's a lot of sensitivity
Yeah,
going on
man.
there, and
Well,
I
but
think,
listen, a couple of shows ago,
yeah,
I was talking like you, like a New Yorker gal from Brooklyn.
yes,
I mean, am I offending people from New York when I do that accent?
that's my point.
Yes.
Well, I
That's
wonder who I've offended. I am not offended when people make fun of me. Like sometimes I sound a little country.
Yeah. Oh,
And I
really?
think it's funny. I think it's funny. I'm like, is that how I sound? And they're like, yeah, you do. I'm like, okay, that's funny.
No, sometimes you do. Yeah, you sound straight Midwest or sometimes Southern.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know, and there's
But I
nothing
mean,
wrong with
my
the way.
point is I'm not offended by that. I don't take offense by that. But maybe, people were offended when I talked like a Brooklyn
But
guy.
that's my point. The sensitivity goes in so many different directions. I talked to my brother, and I have friends of mine that were in the middle of heavy battle when they were fighting for their country, and they all said they had sick humor of all kinds to get them through the tough times. I interviewed people in emergency wards and hospitals, and if it wasn't for their warped sense of humor that they have sometimes, they would go out of their minds. And it really is sick humor, but I think it's God's way of saying, I gave you this gift. What good is a gift if you're not using it? You're not negating the seriousness of the subject matter.
Yeah.
You're just choosing to laugh off the fear, the negative connotations of the subject matter.
Yeah.
That's it. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can I?
Sure. You're in the show.
No, I am in the show.
Oh my gosh, Bam's here.
I'm here for the second time in a row. I think one of the weird things about life is kind of regarding the subject is we like to poke fun at each other as friends and as close buddies and close girlfriends and we're all different. We're all different. Whether Steve and I are, well, he's older, but if we're a couple of middle-aged white guys that make fun of each other, or Eric Flournoy's on here, he's a black dude, and we're bros. Like if I can, we're all different, and sometimes in this world we live in now, we want to make everyone appear to be the same. We're all the same, and we're not. Some of us are tall, and some are short, and some are wide, and some have one eye, and some grew up in a trailer park. Some are funny, some aren't, some are beautiful, and some we're all different.
Yeah.
We're all really different. And we need to recognize that and be okay with it.
Yeah.
That's my point, Eric. Humor binds us. But I'm
true.
seeing today, and this is what concerns me, it's separating us because we're stifling our laughter genes. We're not allowing us. Just listen to certain comedians. You have comedians that are incredibly overweight. And, you wouldn't make fun of a heavy person, but when you see this guy making fun of his weight and the things that John Panette was one of them, he passed away because he was overweight, but he was brilliantly funny. And it makes people like that of girth acceptable.
I'm pointing at Eric's comment over here.
Which one?
The foundation is love, I'm good with the insults if they're humorous.
Wow.
That wins the internet right there. Right there.
Yeah, that's
foundation is love. I'm good with the insults if they're humorous. If I'm making fun of my boys and we're having fun, they know it comes from a loving place. You mentioned pre-show about Andrew Dice Clay. That came from like a place of like hatred and meanness, right? Didn't it?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I knew him. I knew him very well. And I think everyone forgets that his character was so good. And that's what he was doing. He was doing a typical Brooklyn guy from Brooklyn doing the character of the way they would sound about gay people. That wasn't him. That was a character. But his problem was he was profoundly incredible with it, that people thought that was him. So that's where the problem was. And that's a great point, because that would never pass today, nor should it, I don't think.
By the way, Eric said, for much of my life, I've been the black guy, and I'm cool with that.
Eric, I didn't even know you.
And that's from a point of love to us, and it's funny, and we laugh about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen,
Eric still wins the internet with that other comment, though.
Eric, is his picture a knife through ranch dressing? I need to know. It's like, I'm offended, Eric. Annoying. Yaman. Okay, also, Eric, I think Eric saw, I dressed up like Diana Ross last Halloween with the big fro and everything. And I was like, I'm going to put this out there. I love Diana Ross. So I was doing it as like, I love her and I wanted to be her for a night. Right. And then my daughter was like, you're going to offend people. Don't do it. And then that made me want to wear it more, because I'm like, no, I love her. I am not making fun of her. I want to be her. And so I got a lot of love from it. I didn't get any haters. People, especially the people that see my stuff, know me. So they know I'm not going to do anything mean. But I even put it on TikTok, and a lot of people were like, that's really cool. I think Eric saw it. I don't know if he did or not, and what he thought about it.
So you're saying it came from a place of love?
Yeah.
Well, but people that don't know me and saw me dressed up like Diana Ross may have thought,
yes,
who does she think she is? Why is she doing that?
Yes. Yeah.
But I took that,
and I think that's a good point too. I think the other side of another point to that is that I think sometimes people don't think before they respond. And I think if you would just think where the person's coming from first before you respond, I think that can help a lot of situations out.
Well, and
they're responding from their own place.
Yeah.
I can't respond from Debbie's place. Speaking of dressing up, Steve, have you ever dressed up while serving dinner in a dress?
I got a picture on the internet of that.
Only once, when my pants were in the dryer.
That's awesome.
Eric said he saw it and said it was legendary.
Yeah, I got to explain to the people. Well, never mind. Keep going with this. There's no war dress. What the hell does that mean?
Eric, I thought so. Thank you. I thought, you know what? No, I love her. She's an icon, and I'm dressing up like her, and I had so much fun. I had a microphone with a silver top, a big, like, sparkly silver top, and I was trying to sing like her. It didn't happen, but gave it a shot.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just I think we have something going on in our world right now. There's something that's about oversensitivity, but some censorship needed just on our own as human beings, not by the government, but by us just being self-aware enough to know that, you know what? I really don't want to hurt people. I want to be funny, and I'm going to stand up and do my bit in good fun with everybody, whether it's about white people, black people, Indians, Jamaicans, and do accents. And it's funny, people. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think it's funny when you hear someone, act like the white chick standing in a Starbucks line, like, oh no, I went to double latte, a little extra espresso. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's so funny to me. And I'm like,
that's a funny commercial. I agree. And today more than ever, and I think as we go on now, and I think history is going to prove this, that there's a lot of political unrest going on right now. There's a lot of shit going on in this country. There's a lot of stuff going on with different countries. And I can sense the tension. It's like people are walking on eggshells now, man.
Yeah.
So I'm suggesting that we do not stifle our own laughter genes and humor genes. If you have this in you to burst out laughing at something, and you stop that because you got to look around to see if people are going to think that you're appropriate for laughing or not, I think you're doing yourself a lot of harm. You're not honoring your true self, and I think that could very well happen as we progress.
Yeah,
as the years go on, and I'm thinking with the people that watch us, don't allow that to happen.
This is on page 28. And it says humor nips negative thoughts in the bud before emotional havoc blossoms. So laugh it off. You owe it to yourself, Bob.
Yep.
Nip it.
Nip it in the bud.
With some laughter.
I'm going to tell you what offends me in comedy is LOL. Like if I get another text that just says LOL, you didn't really laugh out loud.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to write LOL, I expect you to really laugh out loud.
Yeah.
You don't know. Maybe they did.
Put TOL, text out loud. Like laugh text. Change it up because you didn't really LOL. I hate it. I will say, I think to take it in a different direction,
maybe it means lots of love.
It does not. It means laugh out loud. It does not mean lots of love. Only when I text Steve. But I think there's humor in a lot of stuff. I went for a walk yesterday in the school over here by my house. They had like a little hopscotch thing set out there, and school's done and out. And there's one little croc sitting there, just one. And so I took a picture of it. I posted it on Facebook. I wonder, did they lose? And to me, it was funny. And I laughed out. I laughed out loud, just right there. Boom, took a picture. I'm like, it was funny.
Absolutely.
So I think there are things in our life that are funny that's not comedian driven, that we don't stop to smell the roses on stupid, funny little things that are just comical. Or when something bad happens, to just laugh about it. It just is what it is. Like,
it's laughing at the human condition. That's why we have the gift. That's why America's Funniest Video, I still watch repeats on that. It cracks me up. It just cracks me up. People actually getting hurt. You see some drunk guy on a dance table at a wedding, and he thinks he's cool, and all of a sudden he falls off the table, and you don't even think that this guy get hurt. You can't help it. You're laughing your ass off.
Bruce would do that. Bruce would do that.
So let's bring this up. Let's bring this up because this hasn't been that long ago. So we were talking about this a little briefly before we came on. Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
He actually got slammed and in a lot of big trouble for, I believe, the lesbian, gay, the community, right?
Right. Transgender too, yeah.
Yes, all of that, like making jokes and things like that. And they really came down hard on him. But what I thought was, oh my gosh, do people actually know what all he does for the community?
Yep.
For the LGBT community?
Yep.
So much stuff. And if you've ever gone to the place where he was born and raised, which is Yellow Springs, Ohio, and I have, it is so welcoming and warm to everyone. And it's geared a lot toward being a melting pot where everyone is welcome. So I feel like when he was making fun of that, it's almost like when we make fun of our parents, like we support them and love them, but some of the stuff they do is really funny.
Yeah.
And so I think that a lot of people in comedy, especially, and like, I know he's not at the water tank, Eric Bam. I know like what you're saying at work, and there's this guy that just won't stop or whatever. But he's doing these bits in his comedy, and he's talking about things that he's fine with talking about because he's not coming from a bad place. I don't think. So I think he really, if people would realize and investigate what he's done in that community to help them prior to slamming him, I think they would realize they're off a little bit.
Yeah. Think before you react. I think before you react. But
or get your story straight. Do some investigation on who he is.
Yep. But the thing is, the way the human condition works sometimes, Deb, sometimes a person is so emotionally distraught, even if you prove to them the great works that this person does, that Chappelle does do, they would listen and go, yeah, but he still had no right to say that's what.
Well, and you know what? I can say, they can say that, but should he be like sued and banned and crucified? I mean, I just think that's crazy.
But it's also their right to have that opinion.
It is.
It's anyone's right to have their opinion that doesn't like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
I could not like Dave Chappelle for, anything he says. It's still my right.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But to silence someone, it's not like he walked into, a gathering for LGBT.
Yeah. But he didn't get silenced, though.
What's that?
He didn't get silence.
Well, it was pretty bad from what I
got
read.
lambasted big time in the press.
But
It
his
was
last
bad.
Netflix special was also his biggest.
Yeah.
So he didn't get what's the new term we use where we cancel culture. He didn't get cancel culture, right? He actually probably went a little better. He took a little higher step up. So and maybe he's not the great example of it because there have been other people that have been canceled, but
yeah,
I think real comedy
fresh in my mind.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Debby.
No, he's just fresh in my mind because
Right.
I knew a little bit about his background and what his town that he grew up in and what he's done for them. And then when I realized how he was being really, it just, that made me understand more like what this topic is about is kind of where I was coming from. Like he was real, they were coming after him. And, regardless if he came back stronger or not, what that does to a person mentally and defame you a little bit and to make it's hurtful to know that I don't know. I don't know enough about what happened after the fact. I kind of kept up with it, so I shouldn't be speaking too much about it because I'm not 100% educated on what the final end result was. But I just remember thinking, oh, that's a shame that people are having a hard time with this because he is making fun of them, just like someone makes fun of me or makes fun of a comedian or makes fun of Bruce because he's got better hair than most women. He should be in a Pantene commercial. But, it's okay. Believe in yourself. Hey, how you doing, Robert? If I come across a rose, just to be clear, I will be stopping to enjoy its scent.
Yeah. Which is the same thing with laughter.
Well,
I hear someone
name a comedian that has been canceled.
I can't. I don't know.
And you know why? We can name celebrities that have been canceled and other, but comedians don't get silenced and they don't get canceled. I'll tell you why. They speak the truth.
Michael Richards.
Well, that's 1,000. That's different.
Man,
he wasn't even relevant anymore, Bruce.
See, and that's why.
But comedians speak the truth, right? For the most part, they may
good comedians
there.
An exaggerated truth.
If anything, they speak their truth, and it is a universal truth for the most part. They do. That's what they do. They just have this way of seeing the other side, the other alternative. We can either get caught in the negative connotation, the fear, the negativity, the anger. You could do that. That's why I think Black comedians do such a great job of the way they've been treated throughout history. And man, the fact that they could use that and make people laugh their asses off.
Oh man,
on such a subject like that, it's brilliant. And that's where humor is the most healing thing more than anything.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you just said Black comedians, right?
Yeah.
And I thinking about this subject over the last couple of weeks, and it's been interesting to me. Other than maybe Chris Rock, who's got a popular Netflix stand-up right now because of the whole Will Smith thing. I don't know if I can think of a popular Black comedian right now.
Well, yeah.
And I think it's because white.
So Chris Rock and Kevin Hart and
and Dave Chappelle, the three of them are really famous. They're probably the three most famous comedians on the planet.
I don't know if I throw Kevin Hart into the whole.
Oh yeah, Kevin Hart's hilarious.
Stand up.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Well, and it's just, I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about the last couple of weeks. There used to be a lot of middle-aged white guys that are doing really well, and they're speaking truth. And it's not all like roses and Skittles and rainbows about the way our life is.
Well, Richard Pryor took the history of Black people, and he's the first one that made people laugh at one of the most horrific things that were happening. Mm-hmm. And he just went up there and he just did his thing, and everyone fell in love with him. Everyone fell because he was coming from his heart, and it's like you guys were just saying, it was coming from his heart, and it was healing, not just to Black people, it was healing for white people. Gave us a better understanding of what was going on.
I think Black comedians are absolutely hysterical. I've always said
they speak their truth.
Yeah, it's there, and the exaggeration. It's just funny. I just enjoy it.
They're incredibly animated. That's what they're very animated.
Well, Eric throws a comment. It was a malicious spirit behind Michael Richards that instigated those comments, which is back to his comment about it coming from a point of love.
Yeah.
We can poke fun at each other.
I have to. You know what? I wasn't going to do this, but I
Do
know
it.
something about Michael Richards that maybe a lot of people didn't know, and I know. I heard Jerry Seinfeld on Oprah when Oprah asked, "Is he prejudiced?" and Seinfeld said, "No, absolutely not. He wouldn't be a friend of mine if he was." And Michael Richards, I'm just going to be real quick here because I could be getting myself into something.
Here we go.
When Michael Richards does his act, he talks into the audience, and if he sees a guy with a cowboy hat, he'll start talking like a Texan guy with a cowboy hat, and he'll talk to that guy and communicate. So he was having words with a black person who was in the audience, and he was saying, "I'll be your N. I'll be your N, man. I'll be your N. I'm your N, man." And he was just saying it like he was trying to relate to him. He wasn't calling the person that. He was trying to get on that person's level like he would with anyone. The guy with the cowboy hat. If it was a guy that had this Irish accent, he would start talking like him. He gets into the character, which is what I did with the toll booth incident. It was a true story. I was talking like the guy talked. I wasn't making fun of people the way they talked. I was trying to be that person. And I think what happened is that when it was recorded, they only recorded
that little piece.
They only recorded the part that they heard him say.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I'm
that's
not defending
true.
anything. I'm just saying there's another side to that.
I get what you're saying. And what I want to say about that, just personally, this is me personally. This is a Debbie disclaimer now. I have never used that word, and I don't like to hear other people use it. And I don't like to hear the black community use it. And I know that I'm like, who's this white girl telling the black guy not to use it? But the reason is because if you read the history of what they've gone through, and that's what they were called through those horrible years, then that to me symbolizes what it was that we're trying so desperately to get out of. And so that word to me relates to a different time. And even though they're using it and it's in rap songs, and I like rap and I listen to it and all that, but I don't even like it. I don't like it just because of what it symbolizes from history.
Yeah. And I don't like it either. And I agree. I agree. Yeah. And yeah. So I like I said, for you, those of you who are listening, I'm not supporting or defending someone. I'm just saying
Rizzo disclaimer.
There's another side to that story. There's this other side to most stories, and that one I know for a fact. So, yeah. So, but this is a pretty cool conversation. I hope you folks are sharing this with friends and family. And
you guys sharing this out.
You sharing this crap out.
Controversy.
I'd say call people what you want to call people. Just call people whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. All I know is that, man, laughter has taken me out of depressions. It has been a great bounce back factor. I mean, that fast. I went from something that was really getting me down, and all of a sudden I just started laughing at something, whether it's my grandchildren or whatever it is. It just does something to you. And the only reason why I wanted to have this topic is to let people to know that you've got to honor that part of yourself, and don't let this segment that's out there now stifle your laughter genes. If you think it's funny, then laugh, because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion.
Well, you guys, I have to share something, and I will make this super fast, but
no, you don't have to.
When I was talking about, making fun of your parents even, right? Oh, God, I'm big. I talked to my mom. So on April 1st, April Fool's Day, this is a funny story. Marvin and Kay are my parents' names. They're in their 80s. My mom's 81. My dad's 4 years older. So she told me this story. She's like, well, I was not going to get April Fooled. And she said, I was out shopping and your dad took a phone call and it was smoker friendly. She buys his tobacco from there and she gets these scratch off tickets. And they called and my dad's like, hello. And they said, hey, Kay Schultz won $100 in our drawing. He goes, oh no, you're not getting me. This is either a scam or April Fool's joke. And they're like, no, honest to God, Mr. Schultz, that your wife won. They had to put the manager who dad knows on the phone. They're like, it's legit. So he was like, okay, mom comes home from shopping and he says, hey, Kay, you want $100 at Smoker Friendly. She's like, ha, 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 Marvin Schultz, you're not getting me. I know. This is an April Fool's joke. So then he starts giggling and laughing because he thought it was hilarious, like his asthmatic little laugh he does. And so she goes, Marvin Schultz, if I go over there and it's an April Fool's joke, I'm going to come home and kick your ass. So she goes over there like, my God, you guys are on guard. You did win. So anyway, it was a funny story.
It is.
I get caught every year. Someone gets me every year. And I'm always like, damn it, I was ready.
Yeah.
Every year.
You know,
yeah, see, I stayed in all weekend. I came home Friday night and didn't leave the house again until yesterday. And it just,
you stayed away so you didn't get April Fooled?
No, I think I just got real busy. But when I went out, left the house yesterday to go shopping, it's like, I have not left the house since Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Even we had storms and we had everything.
Oh yeah.
But
well,
so basically, any stories about any high school plays coming up?
Do you want to show that? Do you want to show that? My word according to Bob video when I realized the power of laughter when I was in third grade.
Show it.
All right, let's show that. This is when I realized how
Schwarzenegger.
I want you all to follow this story. Listen, please stay with this. It's only like 5 hours. Play it.
Play it.
One day in third grade, yours truly was performing in the play Alice in Wonderland. No, I'm not bragging, and no, I wasn't Alice. I was Humpty Dumpty, the egghead, the guy that fell off the wall and was really pissed off when he found out that he didn't have workers' comp. Anyway, it was opening night, and the auditorium was packed. I could see my mom and dad as I looked out from the wings of the stage. I have to tell you folks, that's a lot of pressure for a third grader. And the time for my scene came in the blink of an eye. And there I was, sitting on the wall in my A costume. Everything was going fine until my line. I'm one who has spoken to a king, I am. Well, I guess I said it with a little too much enthusiasm because I lost my balance and I fell over on the backside of the wall. And all the audience could hear was a giant thud. Now, I didn't get hurt, not physically anyway. But I remember how humiliated I felt waiting behind that wall for the audience to realize that falling wasn't part of the act just yet. And all I could think of was that I messed up big time. I ruined the play. I was going to be the entire laughing stock of the entire school. And how, I wondered, was I ever going to face my parents? I wanted to run off the stage and hide, but I couldn't. I was frozen by fear. Crouching behind the wall, an egg with egg on his face. And as all of these negative thoughts are running through my mind, the teacher's running up the step and she screams out, "Stephen, are you okay?" And without missing a beat, I yelled out as loud as I could, Yeah, I'm all right, but I think I cracked my shell. I hope Alice doesn't mind scrambled eggs. To my young surprise, the entire audience exploded with laughter. Now, hearing the laughter, I slowly stuck my head above the wall to check out what was going on. And as soon as the audience saw my big egg head, the laughter turned into cheers, and everyone, and I mean everyone in that auditorium, including the cast, was standing and chanting, "Humpty, Humpty." Now, because scrambled eggs just aren't as good without a little ham, I jumped up on top of the wall and I proceeded to take many exaggerated bows. The teacher was begging me to please sit down before I fell off the wall again, but I couldn't help myself. I was totally blown away by the reaction and the attention I was getting. Eventually, I sat down, the play continued, and what a huge success it was. That night, in third grade, my humor being came to the rescue. Just by blurting out the first obvious joke that came to my mind, I went from a klutz to a hero. An emotional transformation took place. I went from the most humiliating experience in my young life to becoming the star of the show. Hey, I'm not exaggerating when I say star. When the play was over, I was actually signing autographs. Here's the takeaway. Sometimes in life, all you need is a couple of seconds to catch your second wind. Laughter, your humor being, gives you that couple of seconds over and over again. Now that's power. And that's the word, according to Bob.
That's awesome.
Ta-da.
No workers' comp for Egghead.
And that's my point. And that's something we got to teach our kids too. Now, you got to teach your kids that life is going to be tough. It's going to throw some shit your way, but there's always room for laughter.
You know what is so good about that story too is just to remind yourself that sometimes the laughter you need is laughing at yourself and not be so serious and be so worried about how people interpret you that your defenses are up and then you get upset if someone else laughs at like tripping and falling or whatever. It's funny. Tori, my daughter, just told me the other day. She said, I was full on walking in my heels. She's interning in a law office. And she said, my toe hit and I tripped. And she goes, I gathered myself before I went flat out. But she said, I, for the first time in my life, wasn't super embarrassed. And I looked around at everybody and was like, woo, I about busted my ass. I was like, good for you. You know, you got to just, laugh at yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Debby mentioned a funny story about her family, so I'll throw in one about mine from yesterday. Today, I told my beautiful, wonderful, amazing, tall, I start to say sexy, girlfriend, Megan, this morning I've realized with my daughters, good mornings on my Fitbit, the step count is really low.
Oh.
Bad mornings, the step count's really high. So this morning was really low. Yesterday, my 4-year-old daughter, I bought her some new clothes, right? Bought her some new shirts, whatever. And she didn't pick them out. I picked them out. And so I said, hey, you're wearing this shirt today. This is yesterday. And she said, Dada, I don't like mushrooms. Sorry, I know like mushrooms. And it had a mushroom with like a big like rainbow. I know like mushrooms. I'm like, okay, whatever. Dada, I know like mushrooms. I'm like, no, you're wearing this shirt, you little turd. And she very sternly, Dada, I know like mushrooms. And I sat there and I got kind of a little like, oh, listen up. You're wearing the mushroom shirt, right? Is how I felt. But then I was like, I'm not fighting over this. And I tossed it and I got a different shirt. She's going to wear that shirt next week. But I know like mushrooms.
Well, I'll tell you what.
This is off topic.
Like mushrooms.
This is off topic, but I want you to know.
Yes. You don't.
That's how my daughter was.
They all are.
And there was a certain point though where I'm like, wow, she's a tough cookie and she knows what she likes and she knows what she wants. And to a certain degree, you know, that was good that you backed off because she needs to know I have a voice.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like mushrooms.
I know like mushrooms. Where does that even come from? You started never even eating a mushroom, for God's sake.
She didn't like that picture. She didn't do a good job, Dada.
I know we're kind of getting close here, and I have one thing I want to talk about today, just to throw it out there. Sure. Steve, this isn't about you and wearing a dress serving dinner, but I was in Las Vegas last week for Pizza Expo for work, and I got the opportunity to speak in front of a group of people. And I talked about something I think Steve and I have talked about before, and Debby was probably pre-you, Bruce was there, but we don't dream enough. And you know, Steve, this book, and I love this book. I've read it 3 times. And Bob is in our heart and our minds and our minds and our hearts, and things that come to us are from Bob. And I'm in this group of people last week that do dream, right? And they dream and they have big goals and they have things that they want. And I think sometimes we don't listen to what we want, and we don't write it down, and we don't talk about it and pray about it and tell our friends about it and follow people on social media that can help us get what we want. And because I think when God puts something on us, it's our responsibility to go chase that, whether it's getting a hot tub or it's getting a boat or it's finding the love of your life or it's a new house. God puts stuff on us that he wants us to go chase. And we as middle-aged adults, we stop dreaming and we stop listening, and that muscle in us that's our gut, our intuition. Our intuition says, don't go down that dark hallway. But our intuition also says, you know what? I want a hot tub. I mean, and I'm using that as an example because last year I wanted a hot tub. You know what?
I was saying, where's the
hot tub?
Damn.
I got a hot tub because one day I heard myself. I've been in this new house for a year this month. And you know what? Literally a year ago, it was a Thursday, and I walked out to check my mail, and I turned around in my house, and something inside of me, God, Bob, universe, and divine, whatever you want to call it, said, it's time to move.
Huh.
And I
remember that. I remember that.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to let this show end without talking about we've got a dream. We've got to listen to what's going on in our heart and our mind and chase the stuff that God's putting on us. Because my God wants to bless me. As highly stupid and sorry to say retarded, highly stupid and as stupid and as dumb as I am at times, God still puts stuff on me to go chase. And you need to go chase it, and we need to go chase it. So if you're watching this today and something comes on your mind or your heart that you should go get that stuff, because I think that's God, that's universe, that's Bob, that's the divine, that's whatever you want to call it. Go chase that stuff today. Start today. Don't say I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it Saturday. Chase that stuff tonight. Write it down. Talk about it.
You know what? He's saying he said don't stop laughing and don't stop dreaming.
Thank you.
On your journey towards the dream, don't forget to laugh along the way, because laughter is the great bounce back factor. Because on your journey to the dream, you're going to have challenges, you're going to fall, but always get up laughing. This is
Matt Greenan. Christ, for the love of God, don't
nephew Matt Greenan.
I have a feeling this is how he talks. So I hope I don't offend you, Matt.
Go ahead, read it.
Christ, for the love of God, don't censor comedy. We need to learn to laugh. People who are too sensitive these days. Laughter is the best medicine. You taught me that, Uncle Steve. Oh, if I would have got to the end, I would have done more of a New Yorker.
Yeah.
You're right, Matt.
Yeah. Matt's a good guy. I haven't seen you in such a long time, Matt. I love you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Gonna get in the hot tub.
Kellyanne, hey.
Oh,
hey.
sorry.
Kellyanne.
Eric Warner. There we go. Gonna get in hot tub.
Hot tub.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Hey. Ow.
So hot. Can't stand it.
I'm going to get in the hot tub after this is done. So,
Eric, Illinois, and then there's Eric. Bam.
Well, folks,
boom.
This is a beautiful. Boy, this show went fast. Holy shit.
Holy shit balls.
I love when you say shit balls.
Let's go. Bruce, you're not dancing. You're not talking. He's like, I can't
Bruce,
get a word in it.
I'm going through some of the comments, but
what
there's a lot of comments we
have
tonight. So I guess the conversation got really in depth.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And thank you for reminding me of the video. I was getting so involved in this.
Where's Arnold?
Who's who?
Where was the Arnold Schwarzenegger? Where I'll be back. And Bruce had a little funny. Bruce, you have a good sense of humor. It's just
dry.
You can't get a word in with us. But before the show, there's where you do Arnold Schwarzenegger's voice, Steve. And Bruce said, "Oh, this is the one about Easter." And then we're like, Easter? Arnold Schwarzenegger and Easter? And then it's I'll be back. Yeah. Christ is risen.
We had it.
I heard it.
He played it at the beginning. You weren't listening.
What's the matter with you? In the restroom.
Oh, you were? Oh, there you go.
I missed it. Everyone's confused. Like, where have you been?
Well, actually, those who tune in during the live show may miss the opening. So go back and watch every single show that Steve's done over the past year and a half. And we have different openings for different shows.
Oh, thanks for saying that, Bruce. I appreciate that. That is.
Oh, yeah. And then also you've got a podcast.
Tell them. Talk about it.
Okay. So basically all you do is you go to your voice device and you ask the voice device to play Steve Rizzo's Hey, I'm Talking Here podcast.
Yep.
It will play it automatically. Or you can, easier way is subscribe, and then it will be sent to your directory of choice while you sleep.
Oh, that's great.
A little reminder.
Great. And if you have Alexa, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Steve Rizzo podcast. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
We'll all come on. So
she just lit up over here in my office. So she heard you, Steve.
And then follow Debby on Find Your Fabulous.
Oh, yes.
And find Steve on Your Inner Bob.
Yep.
Can't find me anywhere.
You're on Facebook.
Find you right here every other Thursday.
Find me right here at all social media, right there.
And Eric, let me say, and I know Debbie agrees, man. We are all glad that you're back on the show again, man.
Yes.
I'm just happy to be here, hanging out.
I'm happy to have you because we love you, and we love everyone, every one of you that have been listening here today. Tell your friends about it. Don't forget, don't stifle your humor being. Don't make me come over there. And we have Eric. Forget about it. That's good.
The fact you knew what he was saying, I was like, what the heck is
Forget
that?
about it. Don't you know how to spell forget about it? What's the matter with you?
I'm a little slow learner. I gotta pick it up.
The Falkland Islands.
The Falkland Islands. Look that up. The
Falkland Islands.
That's the best.
That is the best bit.
That's the best Steve Rizzo I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's Steve Rizzo's original. Now people are taking it and using it, but it's him. He's the OG.
Steven,
you know why? Because
Rizzo.
I'm a fucking genius.
That's right. That's right.
Ba, 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 ba.